It's been almost 5 months since the last major update, but Alpha 3.23 is finally right around the corner, or probably out by now if you're watching this, and it looks like it's going to be one of the biggest updates since 3.18. One aspect that's gotten a radical overhaul is the UI. In this video we're going to check out all the crazy shit they've done with it. So in a way, this video is going to act as a guide to get you up to speed with the new UI. So this is the current UI in 3.22. It's been around for a long time and we're all familiar with it. And this is what the new revamped UI looks like in 3.23. First major difference you'll see is the addition of a fully visualized minimap on the top left corner that updates in real time as you move. And there's now a compass for navigation on the top of the UI, and to the sides shows the angle or pitch of your view. The highest you can look up and down in first person is 85 degrees. So the cool thing about this update is that before, if you want to click on anything, for example the elevator, you had to hold F and click the button. But now all you need to do is press F. But if you want to choose which floor you want to go to, you still have to hold F and click. And notice the minimap disappears when you enter the elevator. Another cool thing they've added is introducing the card system to the UI. Now I don't think any game has done this before. I might be wrong though, and if I am, let me know in the comments. Previously, if you wanted to buy, let's say, a beverage, you would have to hold F to see the options. But now it automatically shows up as a card when you get close. It'll show what type of item it is, how much it costs, and how much money you have. If I had one complaint, it's that it's kinda redundant to have a press F to quick buy and a hold F to buy. I think holding F transfers it to your inventory instead of to your hand, but it doesn't even work right now, so it's pointless. But this doesn't apply to buying stuff on display. If you're buying weapons, pressing F will make you inspect the weapon. Now the game doesn't tell you this, but to stop inspecting a weapon, you have to press E. Same goes for trying on clothing and armor. And it is probably a UI bug, but that's a decimal, not a comma, to clear up any confusion. Next, let's look at the Mobiglass. This is what it looks like as of 3.22.1. Most if not all of you are probably familiar with it. And here's what it looks like in 3.23. And it's almost like a completely different game. There's a lot to go over. First, your player name and money, which was once prominently displayed on the screen, is now shown much smaller at the bottom left. Bottom middle are environment stats, which changes as you go to different planets and moons. To the right is your health. Bottom left shows crime stat and organization. Middle left are notifications. Top left are your contracts. And the middle is your vehicle, which I'll show you something real quick. So after retrieving my vehicle, if I go back to my Mobiglass, you can see its status. The UI is still a little buggy, there's some garbage on the UI, but other than that, you can see its overall health, shield status, fuel, and ammo. For comparison, in 3.22, these two tabs don't work, as far as I know. These may be placeholders because whenever I have a mission or a vehicle, they don't update. Clicking these arrows on the top right of the tabs will open up the appropriate tab on the Mobiglass. So let's look at the other tabs. This is the health screen. If I take a random drug and then look at it again, it says I took sterogen and the drug level went up. And here's an example of conditions and effects. The contract's got a makeover. For the most part, it's functionally the same. They've added more info into the tabs. The verified and unverified switch is just a way to switch between legal and a slightly less legal, or as I like to call them, the naughty contracts. The journal section looks different, but is functionally the same. Knickknacks has been renamed to assets, but other than that, it's pretty much the same as well. Rep, formerly known as Delphi, is where you see org reputation. First, you now scroll down instead of up to look through the ranks, and your affinity is more streamlined. It now shows a percentage in your relations, and there's a neutral zone now, whereas before, you either had a good or bad reputation. Wallet, which was formerly known as Mode Trader or Money Trader, looks different, but is basically the same. And there are some sections that have kept the legacy UI, such as Comlink, Vehicle Maintenance, and the Loadout Manager. And last but not least, the Maps app. The one thing they spent 90% of their effort on. I'm just guessing, I don't know, but I wouldn't be surprised. So now you get this holographic bird's eye view of the area you're in. For example, I'm in Seraphim Station, and Seraphim is divided into 5 zones, and some zones have subzones, like Zone 5. Let me show you how to navigate with the map. Let's say I want to find and go to the food court. That would be in Zone 4. From there, we pan to the food court with right mouse or select it from the top, and hovering over it, I press R to set a marker. So now looking at the minimap, there is an orange line that will lead me to the food court. And if I change my mind and want to remove the marker, I press C. Okay, so now that we know what space stations look like, let's zoom out a bit. Now we see all of Crusader and its moons. If we zoom into the planet, we see more information about its POIs. Unlike the previous star map, you don't have all of them show up at once. Instead, they pop in and out as they come into focus. If we click on Orison, we see more information about the services it offers, which is very useful for planning trips. And if you want to go to Orison, just click this button when you're in the pilot seat of your ship. Okay, now let's zoom out even further, and now we see the entirety of Stanton. The same information can be found at Lagrange points. You'll have to click through this mass cluster of markers, but you'll find a space station tucked in between all those asteroids, and you can see all the services offered there. That's all for the Mobiglass. Now let's go look at the ships. So when approaching the ship, you can now just press F to get inside. But if you want other options, holding F will reveal a context menu for you to choose. Now the ship UI has undergone some changes as well. I'm near yellow to show some of these changes. The pitch, compass, and player markers has gone through some visual changes. The altitude meter is now a counter instead of a scale. You and any party members in your ship will show up in the top right. Also, there's a new marker when landing at space stations or spaceports, and a new marker for retrieving your ships. Switching to quantum mode, you'll hear a new sound. And you'll notice that there aren't a million icons appearing on your screen. Instead, they'll only show up when your ship is vaguely pointing in their direction. To the right, there's additional information like what stop it is, required fuel, and party information. To quantum travel, you now have to hold left click, which no doubt is going to take some getting used to. Now here's something interesting. Look at the bottom left where the shields are. If I enter quantum mode, the shields turn off. I'm assuming this is to make it harder to flee from a fight, because you're going to be vulnerable from the time it takes to spool and calibrate your quantum drive. A change that will undoubtedly make a lot of pirates happy and cargo haulers weary. They also nerfed gimbaled aiming. Here's the fire rate for normal aiming, and here's the fire rate for gimbaled aiming. And here's the side-by-side comparison. One change that took me a while to figure out is they throttle your ship speed when your landing gear is down. When it's down, your ship can only go up to 30 meters per second without boost. Raising the landing gear will disable that restriction. No doubt a beginner-friendly change. Although if you're in atmosphere on planets and certain moons, there may still be a speed limit of 225 meters per second unless you use boost, which is kind of strange. Now let's take a look at the new looting UI, and I actually like it. It's more streamlined than before. Equipping mags is now just a simple left click. You can now combine ammo from partially filled mags together. On the top right, you can cycle between different inventories. The Take All button is denoted by the double yellow arrows. This button on the right will swap to their armor and other equipables for you to loot. And you can simply equip their armor with just a click. Looting containers though, looks less aesthetically pleasing. The only negative I have is that it no longer tells you, at least immediately, the volume of their inventory size. You can only go by percentages, whereas the old system tells you how many micro SUs of inventory your armor or backpack can hold. You can also pick up weapons by simply pressing F. Holding F will reveal more options. You can also hold F and right click on your equipped weapon to do the same thing. Customizing your weapons got reworked as well. You can scroll through the attachments you have for your guns and it will update in real time. If you enjoyed or found this video helpful, hit that like button, subscribe and ring that bell. Especially since I'll be going more in depth on Alpha 323 like the combat changes and new content like the UGFs or the new fauna, just to name a few. So don't miss out on that. All in all, I'd say the UI got a massive facelift. It's gonna take some time to get used to, of course, considering that CIG likes to fiddle with the controls every patch. Let me know in the comments below what you think of the new UI in Star Citizen. With Alpha 323 coming out, also comes with Invictus Launch Week launching about a week from now. And knowing CIG, they're probably gonna debut some brand new ships during the event. So if you want to know what they might be, and perhaps get the jump on your fellow citizens, then I highly recommend you watch this video right here.